This one, to invite a distinguished guest to address our graduates. It's my pleasure to reintroduce Dr. Brian Schmidt and invite him back to the podium to share his remarks with us this evening. Professor Schmidt is currently both a distinguished professor and a laureate fellow at the Australian National University. He has won a range of awards for his work, including 2 honors from the Australian government, the Malcolm McIntosh Prize in 2000 and the Australian Academy of Sciences Pausley Medal in 2001. He has also been recognized with the Harvard Bach Prize in 2000 and the University of Arizona's Astronomy Prize in 2005. From foreign astronomical societies, he has been awarded India's Banu Bapu Medal and internationally with the Shaw Prize in Astronomy in 2006, the Gruber Cosmology Prize in 2007, and the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2011. In addition, he has been elected to various National Academy of Sciences in 2008 in Spain, the United States, and Australia. He is now leading the Mount Stromo Observatory effort in Australia to build the Sky Mapper Telescope, a facility that will provide a digital map of the southern sky from the ultraviolet to near-infrared wavelengths. It's my pleasure to welcome again Dr. Brian Schmidt.
President Sander, Dr. Jacqueline Lee Mock, the Senior Vice President and Provost, the Arizona Board of Regents, Dean Joaquin Ruiz in the College of Science, family members, colleagues, friends of today's esteemed 2012 graduates of the University of Arizona. Congratulations. Just over half my life ago, in 1989, I was here at the University of Arizona, sweating in a black gown outside in 107-degree heat, attending the undergraduate commencement. My thoughts at the time were not so much on the future, but rather the present, being rather amazed by exactly what my fellow undergraduates were, or as the case might be, were not wearing underneath their gowns. But this graduate ceremony is so much more civilized. We have the cooler night air, we have hoods for our gowns, and we have more tickets for friends and family, and I'm guessing a lot fewer tortillas tonight. So tonight, it is my job to talk about your future. We live in a time of great change, and the degree that you're receiving tonight and the knowledge and skills that go with it are the best insurance you can have for the future. We cannot know the future, and this uncertainty leads many of us to sell our future short. Conservatism makes us unwilling to take on all the possibilities that the world presents. My central message this evening is be willing to chase your dreams. Most of you have worked on your advanced degree because you are doing something that you genuinely love. Never apologize for doing something you love. If there is one thing that will allow you to do great things, it is ensuring that you are doing something that you love. For me, I started my studies in astronomy here at the University of Arizona because I did not know what I wanted to do. I saw astronomy as a completely impractical thing that I really would enjoy, and it was certainly not something I thought I would ever get a job in. But it was something that I saw as a platform to get educated, doing something that I love while I figured out what I was really going to do with my life. By the time I had received my PhD in astronomy, I, like most graduates, was worried about somehow juggling my wife's career aspirations with my own, with the prospects of raising a family, knowing that the future was uncertain. I certainly was not thinking about Nobel Prizes, but I knew I loved astronomy, and for me that was still a dream worth chasing. If there is anything I have learned in the 23 years since my graduation ceremony here, is that chasing your dream requires patience and persistence. I have seen many talented people get derailed in their lives. The most common problem is simply loss of confidence. Life is a confidence game. It is almost impossible to succeed without self-confidence. But essentially every person I've ever met has lost their confidence at some time in their life. For me, it's usually only for a few days or for a week, and I'm able to move myself on. And there is no magic solution for regaining your confidence. But when it happens to you, remember, it happens to everyone. I usually find that thought a bit helpful. If you do find yourself in this state for months, get help. You are literally throwing away your life if you do not. The other way that people get derailed is by bad things happening to them. Now let me be clear, bad things happen to everyone. Over your career, you will be maligned by your colleagues, treated unfairly by your supervisors, passed over promotion by your employer, you will be ignored, unjustly blamed, you will have bad luck. In those cases, it is in your interest to move on and forward with your life when this happens. Of course, anything illegal should be reported to the relevant body, but let that relevant body deal with it. Pursuing justice yourself will only distract you from what you really want to be doing. Rising above adversity will earn you the respect of your colleagues. Wallowing in it, even when completely justifiable, will not. No matter how bad of luck you have in life, ultimately, the only thing you can do about it is to move on as best you can and chase your own dreams. And take solace in the fact that, at least in my experience, that time wounds all heals. I'll let you think about that. As you move forward with your lives, I hope that you will continually evaluate your situation. If you like where you're headed, then go forth with enthusiasm and confidence. If you don't, then please, please have the courage to change your life so as to do something that you want to do. Life is about living, and you only live once. And when I say life, I mean life, not just career. Work is an important part of life, but achieving a balance between home and the office is a prerequisite for happiness for most normal human beings. So yes, there will be times when you need to work uncomfortably hard to reach your goals, but this should not be the norm. Spending time with your family is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of a happy and balanced individual. And I'm telling you this now because there will be people in your future, intentionally or not, who will try to make you feel guilty for having a life. I would be lying to say that I have always had the balance right. The last 6 months are a good example where it probably hasn't been perfect. I know I need to change, and I will. Make sure you get your own life-work balance right. For me, for example, I came very close to leaving astronomy in 1997. I finished fourth on a position in a position in Australia, and on a visit to Caltech, where I was interviewing for a faculty position, I decided after the interview that my wife and I would not be happy living in Pasadena. So I removed myself for contention for this job, despite not having a job. And in the end, it turned out 3 people turned down the job in Australia, and I was able to complete the work that eventually led to the Nobel Prize. Such are the twists of fate that are part of all of our lives. And if all 3 people hadn't turned down the job, well, I guess I wouldn't be here talking to you tonight, but I still would have been happy, and that ultimately was all that mattered to me. Now, when I say chase your dreams, I do not mean damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. Any worthwhile aspiration includes the risk of failure. Indeed, one of the biggest worries I have about winning a Nobel Prize is that somehow I will not be allowed to fail gracefully, at least anymore. That is part of living life. And so all plans need to have a plan B associated with them. An acceptable place to land where you can regroup and figure out what you want to do next with your life. And this is where your degree is a bonus. Many people have the misguided view that an advanced degree limits your future. That if, for example, you have a thesis on Bose-Einstein condensates, that is the only thing that you're going to study for the future. That if you have received an MD, you must be a doctor. Or that your musical arts degree means you must work in music for the rest of your life. But understanding that your degree gives you a huge degree of flexibility is incredibly liberating, no matter what you want to do in life. For me, it meant I was willing to move overseas to a place where my wife and I could both get interesting jobs and put all my efforts into a large but risky project that I was passionate about. But I always knew I had a plan B, afforded to me by the broad range of skills I received as part of my studies. That was to go and get a boring job which would pay the bills